Hi everyone, Cerberus here at FPV Racing Solutions. Just putting together a quick video for you. I'm going to focus mainly on LiveTime. We'll talk a little bit about IFPV, but we're going to have a look at LiveTime and go from the basics right at the start of setting up your event and getting you going. Now here at FPV Racing Solutions, we've got years of experience of racing, whoops and wings and X-Class and a 5-inch and all sorts of stuff. So we've picked up some hints and tips across the way, and we're ready to come and help you guys out. If you want us to come along to your event and race direct, help you with race organizing, do some live streaming for you, we have lots of services available. And if you just cover a bit of diesel for us to get there, maybe buy us lunch, we bring a lot of expensive equipment with us, so if you can help us out with that, it would be appreciated. We'd love to come and help you out. If we can't make it to your event though, we'd still like to help you out, and we'd still like to share some knowledge. So if you guys have questions on race setup and event organization, give us a call. We're always happy to chat with you guys, and that's kind of one of the reasons for this video. If we get through to the end of this and you guys have enjoyed it, please leave us a thumbs up, consider subscribing. If you do want to hear a bit more about the IFPV setup stuff, drop a comment below, let us know, and we can always dive off into that and have a look if that would be of help to you. So LiveTime is quite a scary thing. It has a lot of different options and it's a very powerful piece of software. It can do so much, and because of that it can get a bit confusing. But once you've set up the event once and you're going to keep running that same sort of style of event, you're pretty much in the driving seat. There's not much else to do. We can have a little chat about adjustments and race editing, but again, that's kind of out of the scope of this video, so let us know if you want to know anything more about that. So here we are then in LiveTime, and the first thing you want to do is make sure that you have some tracks set up. So your event is going to run at a track. Tracks are very easy to set up. I've got a few here. This is pretty much a test database. I've got a few sets up already. So down here bottom left you can hit create track, give it a name, choose whether it's indoor or outdoor. You're not really going to give it a length because it's going to change from event to event. This LiveTime kind of thinks that tracks stay the same. You're going to treat track more like venue. We're also going to have a look at our classes. So these are your base configuration for the events that you're going to set up. So we'll look at the Whoop class, and here we can set these settings that will always carry across when we choose this class, and you'll see us choosing the class later on. So we'll run through these real quick. Lap settings: ignore invalid, minimum lap time in seconds. We're going to ignore any laps that are invalid due to being less than 5 seconds. So if the timer triggers a crossing that would give a pilot a lap time of less than 5 seconds, you're going to say, well, there's no chance it was that because this is a 20-second long racetrack, so we're going to ignore that lap. I'm going to set this to 10 seconds. I think that's probably a bit more reasonable for a whoop track. We're going to talk a little bit later on about how you adjust this as you get used to the event that you're running on the day. Different tracks, different days, different minimum lap times. Our heads up setting, we're going to set this to invalid breakout. That means that the time starts for each pilot on their first crossing of the start gate. You're not running this as heads up. A heads up race is all of the pilots against the clock. We're running a staggered system because you're running fastest 2 consecutive laps. That means that the pilots are qualified by the quickest time to complete 2 laps consecutively, be that lap 1 and 2, lap 2 and 3, lap 5 and 6. It's the fastest 2 consecutive laps of their qualifying heat. Heads up hole shot. We are not going to be calculating a heads up hole shot. The heads up hole shot is the time it takes for the pilot to get from the start block to the start line. Not interested in that time as we are running staggered racing. Pause the clock during caution. This is an advanced feature. If you're going to start using the yellow and red flags feature in LiveTime, which we've used at some events, it's generally not called for. If you want to get into using those, you can experiment with this. Leave that alone, you don't really need it. Statistics. Lies, damn lies, and statistics. We're going to be judging the pilots on their fastest 2 consecutive, therefore we need the staggered start first lap. We are not selecting heads up, and we're not using caution laps. Brake detection, so this is crash detection really. This is when LiveTime will tell you that the pilot has crashed. We're going to set this to 2 times the average lap time. Okay, LiveTime calculates that for each individual pilot, so that generally works pretty well to give you an indication of if a pilot has gone down. If the pilot comes back up and crosses the line, their crash status will be reset. We're going to also mark the laps, mark as complete when the time or the laps is reached. Saves you a job. And we're going to get rid of DNS and DNF because we're not interested in LiveTime marking those for us. So that's it. With our basic class set up, we can dive into creating an event. Now once you've got an event set up with all of your settings in it, you can actually choose that event and copy it, which takes all of the settings across into your new event. But for this one, we're going to go from scratch. So we'll create the event and we're going to call it a Whoop BQE template, because we're going to use the settings that you would need to run a qualifying event. Track, we're going to race around my office because why not? The date and time, you're going to want to set those to your event. The type of event is qualifying to main. You're going to run qualifying rounds and then you're going to culminate with main or finals. So how are the qualifying results going to be decided? They're going to be decided on the top 2 consecutive laps. The best single qualifying round will count towards your qualifying result. That's how your results will be seeded. In some circumstances you'll want to set that to the best X of Y if you're doing the best 4 of 8 qualifying rounds, say, but I believe in the current Whoop rules it's the best single qualifying round counts, which is the best way to do it. The tiebreaker, I love this option. That's all the options you get, that one option. Don't know why that's an option, maybe it'll change one day. So your letter main results, so qualifying to main, your mains are going to be letter mains. And it's going to be triple finals for all, so it's the triple main result tiebreaker that you want to set. Your tiebreaker will be total. So you can hover over these little question marks here, which give you a bit more information. Total is, the finish is the best total finish position of all 3 runs, and the tiebreaker is the total lapse time of all 3 runs. Bracket last main results, you don't need to touch, you're not running bracket finals. So for your rule set for your round types of main, we are going to set the sorting order to decide a winner in descending order. The scores go from high to low. For position 1, you're going to award 10 points. I can't remember these. Now I've started doing this. I can't remember what the numbers are, but they're in your rules, so you can set those. It's not a very good how-to, is it? I didn't think to check the rules before I did that, but that's how you're going to set your position points for your finals. You're not going to worry about any of this here. We're not going to worry about these registration options. You've got IFPV to do those sort of things. Keep the same code numbers. You don't really need to set that. And you don't officially sign off the results. We do when we're doing VAR, but you won't need to worry about that. So we'll save that. And we have created our event. We can see here the Whoop BQE template. So what are we racing? We're racing Whoops. So I'm going to drag and drop Whoops into the classes in the event. And you can see it's brought across all of those settings that we set up previously. So now we follow the tabs across. So into rounds, we're not bothering with practicing, we're not bothering with seeding, we're going to be concentrating on qualifying. Qualifying rounds are a staggered start, we discussed that before. That's so that each pilot gets their own clock. They're racing to set their best lap time. We don't want to force pilots into a staggered start after a pilot completes a lap, because if somebody does wait on the blocks while somebody else goes out, if that somebody else that goes out completes a lap, it will confuse things. So the length settings. Although each pilot gets their individual times recorded, the length of the heat is set, and it's set to 2 minutes. So the length type is time, not laps, and the race is going to contain 4 pilots. The pilots are going to have 2 minutes followed by 30 seconds to finish their lap. We'll discuss that when we look at timetables in a moment. You're only running the one class, the Whoop class, so per class or combined is irrelevant. Leave it at per class. And the sorting, as we keep saying, is going to be the top 2 consecutive. So onto your mains. Your mains are a race against the clock, so they are going to use the heads up start format. The race is going to be laps, and we are going to remove forced final lap after the leader finishes. That means that any lapped pilots do have the ability to continue and complete all of their laps. Sort settings, again, you only have one class, so it's per class, and the result is the result of the race, so who crosses the line first. Our mains are of type letter, so you can have an A main, a B main, a C main, a D main, all the way down until you've covered all of the pilots in your event. The number of pilots in a main must be the same as the number of pilots in your qualifying rounds, which is 4. We're going to set a main length in laps. That's going to be 3. Could it be 5? That depends on the type of track and the event that you're running. Do you want your following mains to have different lap counts? Yes, possibly you could do that. So your 4 pilot B main could be a 3 lap race. But let's add our C main. Let's make sure I set these all to triple. Nearly missed that. Why didn't you tell me? There we go. We're going to set the C final to be 4 pilots as per our qualifying rounds, but these guys are a little bit slower. They're only doing 2 lap races. I'm going to set that there. Bump ups, we don't do bump ups in this format. Okay, so with your qualifying and your mains configured, let's move on to the next tab, audio. Audio, you're going to have 3 countdown clicks. That's the boops. There's going to be a 1 second delay between the boops, and then a random start delay of 2 to 3 seconds before the beep. So you get 3 boops, then a beep, but to prevent pilots from just counting to 4 and going, there is a random delay of between 2 and 3 seconds between the last boop and the beep. Splits, we're not interested in. You don't need to set any of those up. So with your event option set, we move on to the next tab again, and this time it's seats. So in seats, we need to add the seats for the pilots that we're going to be running. Now I'm going to add what works fairly well from us by experience, and I've got to remember that to do these the right way, and I always forget which ones we use, but here we go. We're going to add R1, R3, I can never remember which one we do. Is it R6 and R8 we go for? I'm just going to add those. I will have to go back to my cheat sheet of what the 4 frequencies were that we ran last time that we were happy with. But we'll go with those for now. Ignore those. Talk to me if you want to know what the 4 frequencies I would normally set would be. I'm more focusing on getting your LiveTime set up here rather than your timer set up. Again, that's another video on its own. So we've got our 4 frequencies. Where are they sitting? They're sitting in 1, 2, 3 and 4. Now that comes in important when you start using the LiveTime overlays to build your streaming setup. Again, that's yet another video all on its own. With our seats and our frequencies set up, we're going to skip registrations and transponder rentals. Registrations is all dealt with on IFPV. Transponder rentals is irrelevant nowadays. We're going to go straight into import. This is where we're going to import our list of pilots. Now we're not going to talk too much about IFPV. I keep saying it, it's another video all on its own. But we're going to import our pilots from our event in IFPV. So go into your event, view pilots, and export your LiveTime CSV. Your LiveTime CSV will look something like this, and you'll notice that we have a class name of spec FPV. Now that's just default for IFPV, and you're going to need to change that because you'll remember our class is Whoop. Just Whoop. We only want Whoop. Our class is Whoop. So depending on what you've called your Whoop class, you're just going to jump into here, and we will Control F, replace spec -FPV with Whoop, and replace all of those and save that file. So with that saved, we can now, in our import, choose the file to import, and it's in a temporary folder on this machine. There it is. So with that queued up, we can mark everyone as paid. Don't really need to do that. It just ticks a box that I don't like seeing unticked, and hit analyze. It's going to analyze our results. There we go. We can see that the data looks pretty good. First name, last name, call sign, the phonetic, they're in the Whoop class. Everything's looking good here. So 11 pilots, we're going to import them. Okay, that's it. That's pretty much the basics of your event setup done. So next tab, onto pilots. So a good thing to do here is make sure that your phonetics are all good and your call outs are going to be good. So in your pilots list, you can see all of these with the trophy are the pilots in our event. I'm going to click the trophy at the top here twice to order them all. I'm going to go into the first pilot, and I'll just show you on the first one, hit edit, and you can see that you can, by clicking the speech bubble, play over your speakers what the little robot lady voice is going to call this person out as. Go through every pilot, click play, listen to what it sounds like, and give them a phonetic name that's going to be announced correctly. So with our pilots all in place, we're ready to schedule our event. So we go into scheduling, we're going to create a round. It's a qualifying round to start with. Races per class, again, we only have one class, so that's irrelevant. We are not going to seed from prior results. We're not going to import a file. We're going to seed the pilots by random order. Now, if you've got a good database built up and the pilots have all got several events under their belts in your database, you can start doing things with pilot ability. It's really going to be difficult to sort that out. So in this one, we can see that I've only got 11 pilots, so I'm going to bump up heat 1 to 4, drop heat 3 to 3, and that will do us. We are going to keep the same FPV frequency wherever possible, so that just minimizes people changing channel. You can see we've got the pilots here. Although it says they're seeded, they're not, because we've gone for random order. So we're going to generate the first heat. There we go. We can see that it's dropped the pilots into their heats, and if you want to make any changes here, you can do a drag and drop. So if I swap the Han with mini rolls rule, you have to hold down shift while you do that, by the way. So hold down shift, left click at will do, change with hyper Dan, there we go, swap them across. So your rounds are ready to go. What we're going to do is I'm going to go to the live race media, and I'm going to start broadcasting the data. If it will let me click on it, come on, let me click. There we go. This will go green. Okay, we'll have a quick look at why I've done that coming up. That's just going to synchronize your schedule to live FPV. So we'll go into racing.
Up next, race number 1. Race order is R1 Hyper Dan, R3 Norfolk and Good, R6 the Han FPV, R8 Circles.
Okay, so that is our race setup, but you need to know that your lap timer is connected and doing the right thing. So into lap timer setup, and here we see we're going to set the lap timer on an Ethernet connection, It's remembered the IP address from the last time I was set up. I don't have a lap timer turned on at the moment, so I'm not going to see that connect. But we'll go into settings. You will see the RSSI graphs bouncing up and down as they pick up background frequencies. You're going to synchronize the event settings with your event. So sync the event video frequencies. So that's going to synchronize R1, R3, R6, R8. They're not the right channels. We discussed that earlier. That's going to set your lap timer to those correct channels. For whoops, or for anything, you're going to go for 25 milliwatts. Sensitivity for whoops, I would actually set that down to minus. And I would adjust the thresholds to be a little bit higher. You will get experience of that, and you will start feeling that out for yourself, and you'll know your venue, you'll know your lap RF8, and you'll start getting a feel for how to set those. So you'll save the decoder management. That makes sure that those frequencies are saved back to the timer. So that's it, into racing, and you're ready to race. Well, almost. Remember that 30 seconds at the end. We're going to go into the timetable. We're going to run our event to a timetable, which is a countdown between races. These are personal preference. I turn them off. And we are going to automatically finish the race 30 seconds after the time expires. That's what gives you your 30 seconds to finish the lap. Back into racing, and we're ready to race. So just to go over quickly why I turned on the synchronization. If I go to the LiveTime website, so you will go to your own, this is fprracingsolutions.livefpv.com, and look at my events, we can see that the Whoop BQE template has started to synchronize. That means that my first qualifying round is populated. So here are the pilots and the frequencies. So back in IFPV, you can use that information to import from LiveTime. You'll have to make sure that in IFPV you've set, in edit your event, you've set the correct LiveTime URL and the event ID, which is that number on the end of your event. This one, so in this case it would be 464348. So in IFPV you would put that number in there. That would then allow you to import your heats from LiveTime. IFPV goes online, picks up who's where. It uses a fuzzy search, so sometimes the names aren't going to line up. Circles in brackets never lines up, but you can choose him from the registered pilots instead. Circles in brackets. So there you go. Once you've got an IFPV match or an IFP registration match, you can save those heats, and that's what creates the listing for your pilots in the event details. So if we go back to, oh no, there we go. If we go back to here, that's how your registered pilots appear in heats with their frequencies, and you can tell everybody to go and have a look there. So I think that's about all I'm going to cover here today on your basic setup, and it is a very basic setup. Oh, we were going to mention minimum lap time. So whilst racing, you can go into settings and you can bump your minimum lap time. So that's the quick and easy way to get to that while you're running a race. So your basic settings for an event are here. Your timing settings, ignore invalid, set your lap time as appropriate for your event. Invalid breakout, it will correctly give your pilots their first lap without their heads up time. You don't want the heads up time. You're going to use a staggered start first lap, 2 times average lap, to mark you as down. In your rounds for qualifying, it's a staggered start type. It's a timed race for the correct number of pilots, and it's the top 2 consecutive that are going to determine your finish. For your mains, it's a heads up race of type length type is laps. You've only got the one class. The result is the result. They're letter mains, and you can set your letter finals. That's it. That's the basics of your settings. That should be enough to get you started. Have a practice before you commit to any big events. We're always available. Cerberus Velvet on Facebook. Give me a shout if we can help you out. I think this video has gone on for long enough. Thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget, give this a like if you like it. Give it a comment if you've got any questions, or if there's any other videos of the millions that I've suggested we could do that you'd like to see us do. And we will see you all at the next event. Take care, folks.